Good morning, people. It is Tuesday, the 12th of December. Oh, it's my nan's birthday. Big up her.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Rest in peace.
Amen to that.
Welcome to TDA, the home of popular culture. Well, your favourite news platform, firstly. And it's the home of popular culture, as decided by you guys, the culture. And as always, you are hosted by the best in the business. Introduce yourself, please, guys.
They call me E-Man, the pro-black activist, TDA producer and news analyst. And of course, the melanin is jam-packed.
And I am your host, 6 foot plus of pure temptation. Big Marks from the east side of the bridge. Well, and we're here with Brenty Lenty Plenty 20. You know what it is already?
Inaccurate.
Huh?
Inaccurate.
I'm going to get it right one day, boy. One day I'm going to get it right.
Stop muting your mic.
How you doing, everybody? All right?
All bless, all bless.
Yeah,
all
man. Can't complain.
All right. Well, did we have any ideas for our competition?
Yes.
That's great. Also, there's extra chance for a competition. This is a separate one. I just posted the flyer on my page. If you go and tag, you can tag up to 2 people that you want to roll with, and you could potentially get picked to get some free tickets. But you have to be following my page and a no behavior page, though. That's all you have to do to be eligible. And I'll pick a winner on there tomorrow. But that's totally separate to the 2 tickets that we got to give away on TDA. And I look forward to hearing what Brent and his AI came up with.
It's just my AI.
Hmm?
Just my AI.
You don't have to take credit for your AI.
I didn't.
I said you're allowed to.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, that's how it works.
I didn't know that.
Of course. Kanye be taking credit for people's stuff all the time.
Kanye? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Kanye?
You ain't heard how Kanye moves.
I didn't know why you plugged in Kanye here. I don't understand the correlation.
2 geniuses.
Flashing. I'm waiting for his track to drop though.
I've seen something. This is like a sample of a popular song or something.
Yeah.
What's the song again?
Let me see if I could find it.
Is it the one where you had like Chris Brown in the...
Nah, he had a...
He's on like a balcony or something, innit?
Yeah, he had a vulture jacket on. Or a hoodie or something.
But it's a popular song though.
Yeah. It's a pop song.
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah,
It's Backstreet Boys, isn't it?
probably.
Is it Backstreet Boys?
Let's see.
You found it? All right. It's Kanye promotion day. Plugging him. Pardon. Have you got it? All right, we'll keep talking while you find it. How you doing, man?
Can't complain, man. Can't complain. I'm here.
Thriving.
Yeah, this is it, man. You know,
Is the melanin still jam-packed or is it waning?
it's always jam-packed, you know.
All
You know what
right.
I'm saying? It can never wane. You know what I'm saying? There's a war outside, but, you know, I'm winning every battle.
Nah, it's serious outside still. There's still a lot going on in the world.
Indeed.
Do you think that, have you noticed that like the media can control people's feelings? Like a lot of the stuff that's going on, like it's not as heightened as it was last week. So if you don't pay attention, you could trick yourself into thinking it's not going on anymore.
100%.
If you don't stay woke. Why do they do that? Why do they pick and choose when they want to stoke up the fires of the people then?
Agendas, man. I think it depends on who's controlling these particular media platforms. You know what I'm saying? They've always got some type of agenda, man. They're always a step ahead of everybody else. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem, I think. Well, the problem for us. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously we're kind of just, for the most part, just kind of just living on a day to day. But they think years ahead. You know what I'm saying? And obviously they're in the moment as well, making adjustments. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to suppose that they knew about this, for example, this Hamas attack. You know what I'm saying? Although obviously there were some people who shorted, I'm not sure, maybe in the day you wasn't here, where certain people apparently they behaved in a particular stock market in Israel in a particular way that kind of seemed that like they knew the attack was happening.
Is it?
Was about to happen, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that past anyone. Do you think that the coverage of it's not as prominent anymore because the backlash from the people, and it's not helping their election? Obviously, England's stance. It's same kind of things happening in America with Biden as well. That's why they're kind of changing their tune a little bit, because they think they're going to lose votes. They got that big election coming up and thing.
Yeah, there were a lot of black voters apparently saying they're not going to vote for Biden.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because of his stance, obviously on the Israel-Hamas thing. Yeah, I think it was last week. Okay, there was some news about that. I think it was last week. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible that obviously I guess the political parties here, Tories and Labour and that, may have made everyone kind of chill a bit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. In some ways, they're definitely in cahoots. I don't think they're always like they're in cahoots all the time, because I do feel like some media platforms are somewhat independent. You know what I mean? Because we can't necessarily pick and choose when, like for instance, the BBC seem to have a pro-Palestine approach.
Yeah, the BBC are moving out they're independent right now. They're doing their own thing.
There you go.
They're not being controlled.
Exactly.
It's more the papers. Obviously, we know what the debate papers like the Daily Mail and stuff like that. They've just been like the mouthpiece of the government for however long. Yeah. They literally say and do whatever they want. It's kind of disgusting. It's kind of bait. You get me? The way they support Boris and Suella and all that kind of stuff. You get me? But now BBC been pretty, what's the word, impartial or something? I don't know. Like, and there's only so much they can do, because you can't get reporters on the ground in Gaza. You know what I'm trying to say? So they're reporting, I suppose the best they can with the information that they got. You get me? Yeah. Because the Israelis are stopping the world's journalists from going over there. It's not like how it was in, like, I don't know, Afghanistan or whatever, when these men like got boots on the ground and you can see them talking with the bombs going off in the background and all that. You get me? There's none of that. So yeah, I
think it depends though, because I think there has been some people over there.
That's people that's from Israel. Gaza.
No, there's one guy. What's his name? He's an author. He's a journalist.
They're pro-Israel, man.
Yeah,
they're not doing nothing. They're standing up there in bulletproof vests and they're like 100 miles away from the beef, chatting shit. You can't listen, brother. That's all propaganda. You can't listen to them, man. There, that's not real life journalism. Following the IDF around, kicking their doors where no one ain't there. Like, man, I'm not listening to them, man. There, I'm not consuming none of that nonsense. That's bollocks. I'll be honest with you, because I need to see. They need to, if they're not in the rubble, they're chatting shit.
Well, that reminds me, yeah. Did you guys see Piers Morgan's interview with he's a doctor. Is it Islamic doctor?
Dr. Mate. Is
that his name?
Mate.
I'm not too sure.
Holocaust survivor.
No. He's a pro-Palestine supporter.
This one, he's not pro-Palestine, but he said he used to be a Zionist and he's not anymore. It's not that one.
No, not that one. Not cool. This one. This guy is like proper, you know what I'm saying? Like they even called him an extremist. Islamic extremist. Yeah.
Is he an extremist?
I don't know enough about him. But
from his views.
But it didn't seem as though he denied it. Like, because Piers Morgan said it on the show. And the guy just kept talking about other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, but anyway, this guy's an NHS doctor.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And the interview just didn't seem to go well. And it's like, we already know how Piers Morgan is, yeah. So I feel like you got to come there with a certain type of approach in it to kind of parry all of his shots, right? But this doctor just seemed a bit too ill-prepared. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just seemed to show Piers Morgan more respect than he needed to. Because Piers Morgan was showing him no respect. You know, just talking reckless, saying how... Because basically the guy was like, oh, he's kind of for, like, Sharia law. Which, to be fair, if you're a Muslim, why wouldn't you be? Because it's law which is in line with Islam. You know what I'm saying? It's fine. But Piers Morgan kept specifying certain things, saying, oh, the LGBT... it's anti-LGBTQ, it's anti-feminist, it's anti all this type of stuff. Do you want this in the UK? And the guy wasn't obviously being straight about it. He was like, oh, well, I would want you to want it. And Piers Morgan's like, it doesn't matter about me. Do you want it? Kept going on and on and on. It just made him basically just not look good. And he asked him straight as well, like, what do you think about homosexuality? He said, I think it's a sin. He said, okay, do all of your patients know this? And then the guy's like, obviously, why would they know this type of thing? You know what I mean? Like, that's just my personal belief because of my religion. You know what I'm saying? Fair enough. A lot of Christians believe the same thing. It's fine. But he just made it seem as though this guy was just a bad man. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a real extremist. That's the guy. It just didn't look good. It didn't look good. You know what I'm saying?
What's this extract? Is this any good, Brent?
I don't know.
You want to play it? You risk it? It's not.
I believe in the Islamic system.
Would you like Sharia law in this country?
I would love.
Yes or no?
I would love to see you want.
No, answer the question. Never mind what I want. What do you want?
I want to see the Islamic system re-established.
Would you like
in Muslim
Sharia
law.
law in this country? Last time I'm going to ask
If Sharia law,
Just yes or no?
if Sharia law means upholding family values, means looking after the poor,
Means no gays, no feminists, i.e. women who get above
that's
themselves,
your
right?
caricature. No, that's
Oh, I know what Sharia law wants,
Why
women.
why do so many women become Muslim these days? Why
Does
do
they want to be
women in the
oppressed?
West?
Is that what you're going to tell me?
No. Why do so many?
Does they want to be oppressed?
Women in the world become Muslim these days. I believe it.
So you or not? You do you or not? What's funny? What's funny is your approach.
Such a clown.
So you or
What is it not good?
Sharia law in this country?
I would love
Yes or no?
it, right? I will never condone them, right? I will say that.
So do you condemn what happened on October the 7th?
If atrocities are committed, you know who's
What do you mean,
responsible?
if? No, they were.
Who's responsible for it then?
So you don't condemn it?
Okay, who is responsible?
Well, the
for
Jews
it?
brought it on themselves.
No, actually, I would say more than that. I would say the powers that believe that Israel should be a colony for themselves in the Middle East, they are the ones
Do you
responsible.
know what? I'm really struggling. I've got to be honest with you. I'm really struggling.
You don't look confident,
That
does you?
a British National Health Service doctor of 25 years,
Yes.
a man who's supposed to be seeing patients all day, every day and putting them right, is incapable of saying what happened when it was literally broadcast to the world by a terror group. Nor do you think they're terrorists. You think it's resistance. You seem to want to go every way to justify it. You don't even believe what they showed us with their own technology. And I'm just curious. Do you think any of this is compatible with you being a doctor in the National Health Service?
You don't have to be a doctor.
Do your patients know that you believe these things?
You don't have to be a doctor to care for the lives of 2 million people in Gaza. You don't have to be a doctor.
I'm concerned about whether your patients here in this country, where Hamas are a prescribed terrorist organisation.
And I've said,
they're listening to this
I've said
interview,
to you,
do these patients know your views?
I have said to you.
Do they know your views?
I don't talk to my patients about my views in a 10-minute consultation, do I?
Do you think Hamas are a terror group?
I believe it's a resistance organisation.
Okay. Do you think what they did on October the 7th was a terror attack?
I believe that if civilians got killed on that day, it is appalling. It is appalling.
You're a doctor, man.
It is appalling.
You're a doctor.
I also believe.
What do you mean?
I also believe
1,200 people got massacred.
And 1% of the population.
I can
Gaza
share your
died.
concerns about what's happened.
You know you don't.
Oh no, I do.
No, you don't.
No, I do.
16
I do.
years.
But
16
I cannot
years they
believe
live in
a
prison
doctor
camp.
is saying the words
16.
if people got victims of atrocity. If.
I do think it happened.
Oh, you did
I
happen.
do
It
think
did happen.
1,200
1,200 people were massacred.
I think 1,200 people.
I couldn't watch
Were
that
they
interview.
massacred? Yeah.
He's
They were
clearly
killed.
By terror.
ill-prepared, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying.
Like he's not ready. There's it doesn't even matter what his point is or what kind of information. Whatever he wants to say, it doesn't matter because he's not. He's just outclassed there. That's not the forum for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's like the Haney fight.
Exactly that.
He don't look confident when he's saying things. You don't look like even. Yeah, it's just weird. He must have just got beat up the whole time. How long was the interview?
I think like 20 minutes. I think something like that.
Yeah, see, even a short. Yeah, he's sick. He might not have a job.
This is it. And I think when they first started it, they showed a clip of him kind of like outside somewhere with a microphone saying certain things to obviously pro-Palestine group. Just asking them to, what was it? I don't want to get it wrong, but I think they just showed a clip of him basically asking the crowd something and then responding jihad. Almost like, how do we respond to what's going on? Jihad, jihad, that type of thing. So they just made this guy look very bad. You know what I'm saying?
Boy,
So
he wants to mind they don't do him like Shemaima. What's her name? Shemaima. What's her name?
yeah, for real.
Yes.
Yeah, for real. It's true, man. It's true.
Well,
But yeah.
that's that on that. Anything else you want to touch on?
Yes.
Oh, go on.
You have something to read?
Yes. So yesterday, obviously, we're chatting about coloureds versus the N-word, right? Thank you. And remember, we were talking about, do we have TDA listeners in South Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I said yes, we do.
I said this we do as well.
Who said no then?
Brent.
Oh, I thought it was you, you know.
No, I was saying the reach. I said we must have one in there. And then one even called up.
So I don't think I said it.
But you implied it.
I think it was definitely me that was questioning whether we've reached that far.
Okay.
Yeah, but y'all definitely said, of course we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's it.
Well, big up the South African listeners every time.
Each and every time.
And one of our beautiful South African listeners messaged us in response to our question. So basically, this is what they said. Hi, TDA family. I giggled to myself this morning when Eman mentioned that he doesn't think TDA has reached that far to South Africa.
Oh.
Yeah, Brent.
Listen, clip.
I'm a coloured South African who has been listening to TDA since about June this year. So yes, man, TDA has reached South Africa. Big up.
Amen.
It was so interesting listening to the different views on the colour term this morning. Some good, some bad, some misinformed. I'm not a historian who can give you all the roots of the colour term, but I've come to embrace it as turning something bad, the term, into something good. We're colourful, a mixture of every corner of South Africa. I think some people, in brackets Americans, feel that South Africans are denying their black side, but I disagree. Being coloured in South Africa is embracing every part of what one is made up of. I know Eman likes to play devil's advocate, so we'll have a question to counter what I've said. But do know that everything in this life is not just clear-cut. There's so much we can learn about people and cultures every day. You all are doing an amazing job. I probably gravitate the most towards Esther and Gina, as I find myself smiling and nodding my head every time they speak. Brent, Eman, Margs, and Big Use before. Your takes on various subjects are so refreshing. Margs, I'm a big Man United supporter, and I love that you don't give. And I love that you don't give in to Brent when he constantly attacks you if Ten Hag should be sacked. Thanks so much for the hard work in putting this excellent show together. TDA to the world from Cindy, Cape Town, South Africa.
Yeah, man.
Big up.
Big up yourself.
How's the Vuvuzela?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Threw me off there. Well,
Hey, wait. Cindy's in the chat, you know. Big up, Cindy.
Is she?
She just jumped in the air, man.
Big up yourself, never small up yourself, Cindy, man.
And she said, P.S. South Africa is currently 2 hours ahead of the UK. So, yes. Thank you, Cindy, for messaging. Hope you remain in the chat all the time. Yeah.
All right, then, man. Let's get into some headlines. And wait there, before.
Yeah.
It
When
was
you're
the
on the
ticket
end of the
giveaway.
week.
Ticket giveaway.
Oh, okay, cool. But you don't like the video, please, before we get into the show. If you are coming there, I see 155 people. I don't know how many likes we got, but I know it's not 155.
Got 45 likes.
45 likes? Yeah. That's not even half. That's not even half of you. I've liked the video. So I understand what we're doing there. Like the video, guys. Please, come on, man. Simple way to show your support. Let's get it in.
True indeed. All right, so our first headline. The One Nation group of centrist Tory MPs have said that they will vote for Rishi Sunak's Rwanda bill, despite their concerns it disapplies the Human Rights Act. However, the One Nation caucus, which is made up of around 100 MPs, warned that they would oppose any amendments that would risk the UK breaching the rule of law and its international obligations, something rival factions have called for. Sky News' political editor, Beth Rigby, said that this means that if the bill is passed tomorrow, it only kicks the blow up further down the road. She was speaking to the political hub with Sophie. She was speaking to the politicals. She was speaking with Sophie Ridge on the politics hub. Pardon me, and said the Prime Minister has chosen an issue where his party is irreconcilably divided between the left and the right on whether to leave the European Convention on Human Rights and break international law to get these flights off the ground. Next headline, and this is about the Eat Out to Help Out scheme that Rishi Sunak introduced, and basically he's come out to robustly defend it, man. And he said that that particular scheme, which was implemented in summer of 2020, prevented devastating job losses. The scheme encouraged people to attend pubs and restaurants by subsidizing meals after lockdown rules were eased. He dismissed criticism that senior advisors were not consulted, saying that they had ample opportunity to raise concerns. In previous sessions of the inquiry, Matt Hancock and Sir Patrick Vallance, the health secretary and the government's chief scientific advisor during the pandemic, have both said that they did not know about the Eat Out to Help Out scheme before it was announced. The inquiry has also been told that the chief medical officer, Sir Chris Whitty, referred to the scheme as Eat Out to Help the Virus. Can you imagine? Eat Out to Help Out the Virus. And Sir Patrick said that the scheme was highly likely to have fueled deaths. However, Mr. Sunak, who was a chancellor during the pandemic, strongly backed his decision to introduce the scheme. And this next headline is pretty much going to inform our topic of the day, right? Well, I definitely want to see what you guys think about this. And there's a situation going on in America, and at least 570 professors at Harvard have defended the university's embattled president, Claudine Gay, as she faces calls to resign following statements on campus antisemitism that have already triggered the resignation of the University of Pennsylvania president. The faculty submitted a petition to the 13-member Harvard Corporation, which has the authority to fire the president, asking it not to bend to political pressure to remove her. Appearing before a congressional inquiry last week, Claudine Gay, along with Sally Kornbluth, who is the president of MIT, and Liz McGill, who is the president of the University of Pennsylvania, answered more than 5 hours of questions over their response to anti-Semitism on their campuses. Frequent student protests over the Israel-Gaza conflict have triggered accusations that some of the rhetoric has crossed into anti-Semitism. Gay, Kornbluth, and McGill all declined to provide a definitive yes or no answer to the Republican Congressman Elise Stefanik's questions about whether calling for the genocide of Jews would violate the university's code of conduct. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But like I said, that's going to form what we're going to talk about in the topic of the day.
All right, yeah. No time like the present then, man. Let's get into it, man.
I found a Kanye video.
Oh, what is it? Let me see it.
All right.
Oh, I remember it now. It's everybody.
Sexual, yeah. Am I everything you need? You better rock your body now.
Exciting.
What, is that hitting home for you though?
As in the drop?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Did you connect with that rhythm? Like,
Yeah.
no, it was a
a
big
banger.
tune still.
Yeah, it was a banger.
But there's no, like, yeah, samples are dangerous, and especially when you go with big rhythms like that. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you got to get it right. If you're gonna touch it, you got to do it properly, man. So that all sounds cute and all that, but once that drop actually lands, if it don't land, it's gonna be disappointing. So
I agree.
What top was that? As well.
his top.
You know,
I think the symbol means black. Oh, hold up.
What did it say? I've seen
it says vultures.
vultures.
Yeah.
Ain't that his thing? Am I going crazy? I've been seeing that.
But I saw that same iconography online, and it had something to do with black something.
Yeah.
Not black power, but
Okay.
royalty. Let me try and find it.
The reason why I'm saying that is because when I saw that actual bird, right, that reminds me of the Germany flag
Okay.
during the World Cup. Is it the World Cup, the football one?
What, their crest on their top? Because they ain't got nothing on their flag.
Yeah, not on the flag, on their crest. Yeah. Is unless it's back in the day, like with West Germany. Let me Google that.
Oh,
man.
I think.
It looks very similar, but obviously without the two heads of the vulture. It's like one. Let me see. West Germany. There we go.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Is it the same thing?
It's not the same, but
No, but I guess it's back to back.
what do you mean? Oh yeah, as in the birds.
Yeah.
Why is his bird double-headed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Vultures. All right then. that's down on that. Let's get into the topic of the day.
Found it.
Found what? What?
The double-headed vulture.
Is that a real thing? That's not real, is it? That's AI.
No, it's not. This is an actual bird.
That's a real picture.
It's in Texas.
Huh?
In Texas.
When you say it's in Texas, as in that one, or there's many like this?
There are many like this.
There's not. There's not. There's not.
You see, there's another one.
No, I've watched too much wildlife documentaries in my time to not buck that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Was it a double-headed eagle?
What's going on with Wikipedia? Is someone trying to buy them or something? They've been asking for money and thing. Go up to
They've been doing that for years, though.
I ain't seen that before. I only seen
Because it's free, innit? So they need, people's support.
Yeah, but I went on it the other day and they just put a big warning on the screen, moving like like they're buying it now, like it's going. Oh, what that?
The double-headed eagle.
So what's the double-headed? What does it represent?
No, I have to Google.
Is it something Masonic?
I think so. I think that's what I saw on X, but it didn't verify it. But I'll check.
Cool.
So yes.
Did you press it?
All right, so today's topic of the day, this is just about, it probably won't be the longest one in the world, but it is a question I kind of want to delve into, and this is about a leader, a manager, if you want, being asked to resign. Do you feel like people, if for example, a particular organization wants somebody, their head, to resign, do you feel like it should only come from within that organization or externally as well? Or it doesn't matter to you?
If their external noise is detrimental to the organization, don't you take that into consideration?
Then I'm asking. Because if that's the case, does that mean that anytime anyone's job is at risk?
But that's
Anyone's role?
that's facts. It's already like that already.
Yeah, but is that a good thing?
No.
And can you think of an organization where that would never happen? And if you can, is that organization then a real organization, a robust organization?
What organization? I can't think. There's not much.
Do you feel like everyone's pretty much susceptible if there's enough pressure from outside?
Even in politics, because we live in a democratic society, the pressure from the outside can't really get them out. They'll have to get voted out, but they could do it. They could do it from the inside. They've done it in this country bare times. You know what I'm trying to say? So maybe, whether it's inside or outside, I think everybody's susceptible to that kind of behavior once the noise gets too loud. Once people start calling for your head, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
So we got the Albanian coat of arms, apparently.
Okay.
Is that an Albanian thing? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big up Albanian girl, man.
You ever had one?
Of course. You know, of course. The United Nations leader already, founder, co-founder, president, vice president. That's my story, man. I told you I'm out here doing God's work, man. You don't know what you don't know. I want to know. And knowledge is power. See? There's a method to my madness. Anyway, where was we?
Yes. So, all right, put it this way. I guess it will kind of depend on the context, but should someone like Ten Hag, for example, leave Man United if everyone outside of Man United is talking about it? Because what business is it of anybody else?
I think when it's football managers and stuff like that, I think that's a bit different. You got to be strong enough in your company, in your organisation, to block out the outside noise. If you believe in whoever you've got at the helm, innit? You know what I'm trying to say? So, because people don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So if you have got a plan that you believe in and someone that you think's a viable candidate to deliver this plan, then you've got to do what you're doing and ignore the outside noise. With football, it's a results business, isn't it? So people can say what they want, but they'll stop moaning once the points start coming in. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So then if the points ain't coming in and there's noise there, then obviously your head's going to be on a chopping block. But I think the results are more impactful than what everybody's saying because they don't really know. So I think in that sense, it's a bit different. You get me? Because there could be the fans could be moaning that they hate the style of football and they hate this and they can't stand the manager, but he's winning games. He ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. But so basically you're saying if he was losing games now, then
voices become much louder.
Yeah.
Like much louder. Like, and then it's pressure from everywhere, innit? And I think the most things with them companies is when your actions start affecting the bottom line at the end of the day. And then until it does that, I think people will be able to stand by you or wherever it may be. You know what I'm trying to say? But like once you start affecting man's dollar and pound, then it's like, what are we gonna do? If the noise is so much that people that other brands and stuff start threatening to pull away sponsorship and their association, and you know, like I don't know, like, or if you like if you disrespect certain communities and then they decide that they're not going to stop fucking with you and they might be a bit powerful in the world, then it's a no-go for you, innit? Because what we're going to do, because everybody here is all on cold, they're on the same wavelength and they don't like you and they're going to start pulling away funding, they don't want the association and stuff like that. It's like, so once you get into that territory, then it's like I want to support you, but I can't fuck with you because you're going to bring us down with you.
So how then do you make an organization strong enough to resist that type of attack? Or is it impossible?
I don't know if it's impossible. I think you just have to be, like, if you're 100% self-sufficient and not relying on anybody else's money, I guess, then that's on you, innit? You know what I'm trying to say? And because obviously you might take a hit here and there, but if you're prepared to do it, then it is what it is. If you're prepared to deal with the consequences of your actions, then no one can't really tell you nothing. You know what I'm trying to say? So maybe if you're 100% self-sufficient, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to, especially like with these companies, organizations and stuff, it just comes, like I said, if it once it starts affecting bread and that, and public perception and all that, then it's like, you got to do it. But ain't it good leadership to, if you care about something and you know that your association with it is detrimental to it, ain't it good leadership to say, you know what, whether I'm wrong or whether I'm right or whatever, but this is how it looks and this is what it is and this is what I'm doing, and my actions have been harmful to what's going on. Ain't it good leadership for you to say, you know what, let me cut ties anyway, like let me do the resignation thing?
I think it depends though, because sometimes good leadership is you being strong and saying, look, these guys have got an agenda. This is all foolishness. I'm staying put. You know what I'm saying?
But perception's probably more important than reality at the end of the day. So yeah, they got an agenda and what is there, but it's working. And your behavior or whatever it is now detrimental to what's going on. And you can see that it's detrimental to what's going on. And everybody's fell hook, line and sinker for this propaganda. So do you still stand in that stubbornness?
But then that means you lose then. So for example, if somebody wanted to say, you know what, I want to get this person out of this particular organization, right? Okay, I'm just going to make something up. We live in the day and age where people just make things up, right? And we already know public opinion means X amount in the world, right? I could just make something up, get enough people, especially if I've got a voice now, right? Get enough people to believe what I'm saying, or at least just to spread the news, this information. And then before you know it, that person's out of there. That can't be good leadership, especially if you know it's fake and the people within your cabinet, so to speak, know it's fake. Do you know where I'm coming from? Because that means anyone is susceptible to anything. Like, well, what's the point in an organization having values and ethics that all of you say, okay, cool, this is what we abide by, and like there's an oath amongst us where it's like, cool, I know none of us have breached this. But yet, because they're trying to attack us, because they know how powerful we could be, I just have to step down. Can't we just chalk it down to it's just how the tide is at the moment?
I suppose they can if they want to, if they want to like ride it with you, like, but honestly, look, Daniel's saying the board has a choice to listen to external pressure or not, but the board's going to make the choice what benefits them, innit? You know what I'm saying? It's whether they know it's true or whatever it's not. It doesn't matter. It's all about how it looks. I don't know. I'm struggling to think of. Can you give me some examples of people that are impervious to that kind of thing? Like who?
I mean, I know for sure nobody's getting rid of the minister out of the nation. That is a fact. That right there is a fact. It doesn't matter what happens, who says anything, the minister is staying put, 100%.
Yeah, but there's
Outside
nothing.
of that, I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, but unless he goes against, if he's not going to go against the grain or the religion or whatever, yeah. Because if he done something that was against the religion and against everything that he stood for, the voices would be powerful enough to say it doesn't matter who they'll get him out of there, innit?
But this is what I'm trying to. Yeah, go on.
But what I'm trying to say is because of their reputation and the things that he's already said in public, there's nothing that he could say that any outside voice could influence the inside to get rid of him. Because they're all on code, and he's already said everything under the sun. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So there's no outside noise. He could self-implode. You get what I'm trying to say? Like I said, if he done stuff that was actually goes really against everything that he's been preaching this whole time, and he was doing it outwardly and loudly and for long enough, there would be some type of faction within the organization that say, "Look, man, Donny's lost his way. He's got to go."
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. But I guess this is more so. I guess my question is more so like how you can be have a strong defense against external forces, because like in the example that we were speaking about, yeah, in the last headline, Ben, I put a clip in there. If you don't mind playing it, right? I read some of it in the headline, but it'll be good to see it. But basically, this Harvard professor, well, the president of Harvard, right? Everyone's asking her to leave, man, because of certain views that she kind of, you know, the way she answered certain questions, basically, right? Because she was being asked by this lady, Elise Stefanik, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? She said it can be, depending on the context, right?
What the context of calling for genocide?
This is what she said.
That's where she messed herself up, because even our language, what context is there for calling for genocide? If you're calling for genocide, you're calling for genocide. The problem would be is if the statements that these kids are making on campus is actually calling for genocide or not.
Exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But she needs to articulate that, because they're trying to set her up. You can't say it depends on the context. There's no context of calling for genocide. What context is there for calling for genocide?
Yeah.
Anyway, say it.
No, you're right.
You are president of Harvard, so I assume you're familiar with the term intifada, correct?
I've heard that term, yes.
And you understand that the use of the term intifada in the context of the Israeli-Arab conflict is indeed a call for violent armed resistance against the state of Israel, including violence against civilians and the genocide of Jews. Are you aware of that?
That type of hateful speech is personally abhorrent to me.
And there have been multiple marches at Harvard with students chanting, quote, "There is only one solution, intifada revolution," and, quote, "globalize the intifada." Is that correct?
I've heard that thoughtless, reckless, and hateful language on our campus, yes.
So based upon your testimony, you understand that this call for intifada is to commit genocide against the Jewish people in Israel and globally, correct?
I will say again, that type of hateful speech is personally abhorrent to me.
Do you believe that type of hateful speech is contrary to Harvard's code of conduct, or is it allowed at Harvard?
It is at odds with the values of Harvard.
Can you
But
not
our
say here that it is
values
against the
also-
code of conduct at Harvard?
We embrace a commitment to free expression, even of views that are objectionable, offensive, hateful. It's when that speech crosses into conduct that violates our policies against bullying, harassment,
does that speech not cross that barrier? Does that speech not call for the genocide of Jews and the elimination of Israel?
When
you testify that you understand that is the definition of intifada. Is that speech according to the code of conduct
she needs
or
to
not?
resign, man. She's not strong, man. I don't like people that I don't take bad up, you know. Look at how she's being spoken
to free expression, even of views that are objectionable.
You and I both know that's not the case. You are aware that Harvard ranked dead last when it came to free speech. Are you not aware of that report? Let me ask you this.
That is killing her. Is that true? She's talking about how she's the commitment to freedom of speech. She said they ranked dead.
I'm not sure. Probably is fair to just be saying it like that. But
she ain't got a leg to stand on. The man said they're dead last. They rank dead last in freedom of speech. These kids can't talk about nothing, but you want them to, you want to let them land on genocide. She was just being spoken to so aggressively, and her stance was, that's another someone with poor debating skills. I think she was ill prepared. That was like the Piers Morgan thing.
There you go. But in that same situation, though, I think her stance from the beginning was similar to what you said. I think the entire thing from the beginning about if this thing is considered genocide and all that type of stuff was wrong from the beginning. Because she agreed to that, it led her down the wrong road. And then there's nothing more you can say. But in that situation, if, for example, let's just say, like we said, it is a mistake, right? She should never have agreed to it meaning genocide and all that other type of stuff, right? If now this is after the after this type of nonsense, right? This bashing, right? We can say, you know what, actually, this was wrong, this, that, and the third. Why should internally the board have to cave to this pressure? If, for example, you know, she knows and everyone on the board knows we are against genocide. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think in this situation, it's a bit different. You get what I'm trying to say? Because of the subject, because of the topic, and because of the people involved, there's gonna, like, the pressure to get rid of her is gonna be. It's just gonna be a lot in it. You know what I'm trying to say? That there's gonna be people with a lot of influence in positions of power that are on the other side that don't agree with what they're saying, and they got their own agenda, so to speak. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they're anti anything. Like, they're not taking like nothing. You get me? So the board, there's probably gonna be people on the board that agree with the fact that she should go. More than likely. I don't know, man. I'm a bit harsh, man. Like, that didn't look like. I mean, she didn't say anything to. I don't know. That just didn't look. She looked like she got beat up. It wasn't just because the woman was raising her voice. She wasn't. I feel like sometimes when someone's trying to attack you, that you've got to attack back. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and when with the points that you're making, you got to be clear and concise, and also try and trip them up over their words and make them look stupid and that kind of stuff. That's what I want to see. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, so even though that was a small clip, but I ain't seen the whole thing, and I don't know that woman. I wasn't getting strong leadership vibes. I don't know if I'm going to stick my head out for her.
Well, basically, I think near the end of it, right, that white woman says, so the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct? The black woman says, again, it depends on the context. The white woman says, it does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign. These are unacceptable answers across the board. Why is she on the outside of Harvard telling somebody within Harvard to resign? So my thing is, like, if this makes Harvard look bad, fine. It makes Harvard look bad. I get it, because obviously Harvard is one of the biggest institutions in the world, right? And how that may reflect on America and things of that nature. But this is our own business. This is ours. Why are you telling me from the outside what I should do on the inside?
I hear that, but people are always policing stuff. And it's like she let them use the wrong language. She let them trick her out of her position, man. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I just don't see the world where she should have. well, we know what she should have done in it. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? But like, that doesn't. If that's the. Read that last sentence out again. What the woman said to her last again.
She said, 1 second. She said, it does not depend on the context. The answer is yes. And this is why you should resign.
No, but what's the question that she asked her? She said, does.
Yeah, she said,
does calling for genocide go against?
Yes. So the answer is yes. That calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
The answer has to be yes.
And the lady was like, again, it depends on the context.
See, but that's crazy though. As the president of Harvard and someone's asking you, does calling for genocide of any race, violate your Harvard campus thing? The answer has to be yes. Does it not?
This is it. It's because she started off wrong.
But if your answer's not yes, then you gotta go. You're sick. You can't be in charge here. Someone who knows what they're doing needs to be in charge here. The answer has to be yes. And it's not just because it was Jews there. You could put any race, anything in front of that. There's no, like, calling for genocide of anybody should go against your campus rules.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And that's why she tricked them out. Because what she has to say is, she has to explain that, I went there, I don't know what they're doing. I know there's a lot of, like a lot of bad people get mixed up in good situations. So there are people that do anti-Semitic things in these things. But I don't know if that's the whole, if that's like everybody on the whole in it. So I don't know if they was actually calling for genocide or if you are just twisting people's words or just spinning narratives to make it fit how you fit. You get what I'm trying to say? But she can't be talking. She can't answer that question with it depends on the context. Because for me personally, it don't depend on the context. She killed herself.
So really, if you realize you're in that position, the best thing would be to do what? To say yes, it is genocide, but nobody was calling for genocide.
Yeah, like you, boy. I don't know. You gotta be better than that, man. You gotta be better than that. When people are trying to trick you up and twist your words and stuff like that, you gotta be able. You gotta be able to debate and get your points across clear and concisely, and don't let people control the conversation and control the narrative and just say whatever they want about you, especially when it ain't true. Because once people hear it, it's too late. You know what I'm trying to say? So, again. Yeah, that's tough for me because I don't understand. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh then. I don't know. Am I being harsh?
But
You're trying to help your black sister across the pond.
Who?
I don't think you've been harsh. Giving her good advice.
Oh.
She obviously didn't take it.
No, she didn't take it.
Yeah, you should have been her representative.
Yeah, if I was a representative, she would have got off that.
I got this.
good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stacey. How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
We good over here.
Good. Long time.
Good to hear your voice, man. You all right?
I'm doing okay. I got a little razzle dazzle in my throat, but we gonna put into this conversation where I can. Full disclaimer: I'm also in the process of learning a little bit more about it.
Okay.
So I might not be completely learned, but from what I've seen, I'm not understanding the standpoint of the opposition personally.
Okay, let's go.
So from what I understand, right, the issue is there were students on campus, correct me if I'm wrong, students on campus were protesting using language that was deemed anti-Semitic, and the dissent is how administration is handling as a response.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Right, and in the clip you just showed, the line of questioning that the lady gave, which in my opinion was not the questioning, but the way she presented was aggressive. Anyway, negligible. She was trying to say that she was wrong because there's a conflict in policy. But the policy that I'm not understanding, or I feel like she didn't do a good job of making clear, like where the disconnect was the bullying and harassment thing. Which is why I think the question of freedom of speech is being brought up here, which is my bigger thing. Because like I said in the chat, I really do wonder what the precedent was for, and this is not me to compare, this is simply for matters of precedent. When we were going through Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and Trump and all these things, there was a big spike in white supremacy groups. And it existed on these campuses in the form of protests as well, counter protests, right? Not saying that the same bullying laws should apply, but was hate speech deemed as bullying? If she said hate speech is a direct violation of Harvard policy, different context, that is explicit. I can see that being deemed as hate speech. But if you're going to say bullying and harassment, unless there was an active effort for this protest to violate the space or get bullying, you're doing an action that is directly at the impact of someone who is subject to whatever you're doing or talking about, right? I'm not seeing how we're talking about bullying here. And I imagine that's probably what she's saying by freedom of speech. If you can't enforce it all around, why are we enforcing it for this specific issue? And that's my bigger problem with all things surrounding this conversation. And it's weird because we see the juxtaposition of this when it comes to Jewish issues versus Black issues. When Black people say things out of ignorance, right? Out of not knowing, right? Anti-Semitism, oh my God, harassment, oh my God, bullying. But when white people do the same thing, both explicitly and in microaggressions, not the same. All of a sudden it's freedom of speech.
So
unless you're in America, unless your speech directly impacts somebody, you are free to say whatever you want. It might be distasteful, it might be immoral, it might be, otherwise we'll be locking up KKK people left and right. The university might not agree with you, but to me, this is my question, and this is what's forming my stance on it. Again, disclaimer, I might be uneducated, and there might have been something that actually did happen in line with bullying and harassment. I'm not understanding the disconnect between people being able to vocalize, because to be clear, I don't support whatever they were protesting, whatever they were saying in their protest. But I also can't, I can say that about so many other things. I went to Howard. White people came on campus all the time talking about Make America Great Again. What can I do?
You see,
they have the freedom of speech to voice their opinion.
You see what it is, Stacey? Yeah, it's because of how power structures are set up in it. So the power structures in government and in a lot of the major companies in the world and in media and the people that actually have the influence. Yeah, it's about the structure of the power. So the people who can actually implement the power that they have, yeah, are people from a certain race or from a certain hue, innit? And their fight ain't our fight, innit? You know what I'm trying to say? And everybody's got their own interests, their own interests at heart, innit? If there was Black people in the positions of power, yeah, if there was like a major company that really impacted the world and you looked on the board and they was all Africans, yeah, then there's certain things you ain't gonna be able to come out and say. You know what I'm trying to say? And because everybody's on cold and they have it and they're not gonna have it, yeah, they could shut shit down in an instant. So there's certain things everybody ain't that you're not gonna be able to say. And even if Joe Blogg in the public thinks he can say what he wants, people that's higher up in the power structure, that's in position of power and understand how the world works, are gonna say, no, you can't say that, or I can't be deemed to be sitting next to you while you're saying that crazy things about Black
but
people
they
or
didn't
whatever.
say
Because
anything.
no, but it doesn't even matter what it is, because then once you're in the position of power, you can pick and choose what you want to do. It could be, that's what I'm saying. They're not taking nothing, and sometimes you don't even say nothing, and they'll twist it and make it like they're not having nothing. It's any little ukums. They're not on it, and because it's there, it's. Do you get what I'm trying to say though? Like if there was the Black people in that position of power, we could do that as well. Say what? What did you say there? What did you say over there? Pussy? Yeah. No. I know what you meant. You know what I'm trying to say? Like this is what they're doing at the end of the day.
This is my thing, and this is why I think this issue is to me personally bigger. Sorry, not sorry. And this is something that I've grappled with even as this whole Israel, Hamas, whatever thing has been going on, because I work in Hollywood. So a lot of people who work in Hollywood and that are in high positions are people of Jewish descent. And I thought it was such nonsense that as soon as the whole stuff happened out there, oh my God, we had rabbis in our all hands call. I was like, y'all can't be serious. They were explicitly on the phone talking about we need to hire more Jewish people. I said, you have to be sick. Because where was this commitment a couple months ago when we were dealing with our issues? This is not, and I think this is why it's especially dangerous when we have people like this, whoever president or these presidents under fire, because of the precedent it sets. It's not maintainable. If whatever happened, whether she supports it or not, does not fall in line with policy, she is well within her jurisdiction to inflict consequences. But when you're asking someone to inflict consequences from the angle of bias, you cannot apply that across the board. If you're not going to show the same level of consistency, if this white woman's not going to be sitting up here asking people equal amounts of questions when Black issues arise, I need you to take your two fingers, your index and your thumb, and hold your lips. It's not consistent. And that's my issue, which is why I asked, when issues of George Floyd, issues of Trump, we've had very recent examples of this in the past, have happened, and there were campus protests or campus things. What was the precedent set by past leadership? Did that fall under bullying and harassment? You have to, I imagine that in that type of position, you not only have, you cannot put your morals on the forefront. You have to put policy and precedent as a priority.
Yeah, no, it's
because
sad,
the decisions
man. They
that
don't
you
care
make,
about us.
they don't. Which is why personally, I'm choosing to wash my hands of all this. I don't, it is what it is. At the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. Innocent people are dying, and that's what I'm arguing. But when it comes to the whole Israel versus I don't want to hear that. Because where were y'all? Where were y'all? We always trying to save somebody. Where were y'all?
Facts,
I was
man.
telling you lot during the Kyrie thing, you lot was getting on to me. I was telling you lot, now you lot see. All right.
I'm just going to laugh. We're just going to be sitting here making memes on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You know, in a couple months when something tragic happens, because we know tragedy happens all the time, and our Jewish counterparts are going to be sitting there holding their lips. People have attempted to also bring up genocide happening in other countries. Are they equally using their volume? No. It blows my mind that this woman is sitting here on this bench talking about genocide of Israeli people as we're watching the genocide of Palestinian people, but you yourself can't even open your mouth to admit that's what's going on. It is so embarrassing. I'm in New Jersey right now, and I'm definitely in a more Trump state, so you know it is what it is. I don't think I see this in California nearly as much unless I'm in the richer parts. I'm literally seeing American flags and Israeli flags turned into one flag, and it's like flown like it's normal, like it's a thing. Like this is a very obvious stance that a lot of people are taking, and it's so bizarre to me because it just makes people are just have become, since Trump, very loud and clear about their obtuse political views, and you have the right to do that, but it's just like the imbalance is so imbalanced, and it's like I'm just flabbergasted every day. Because nobody's standing on business. Nobody, including us.
What's the
everyone is inconsistent everywhere.
What's the temperature like over there politically? Do you think Biden's gonna be able to win an election?
Oh my God! In Jesus' name.
Are you hoping he does?
Yeah.
Well, just because he's the one lesser evil or something you prefer? Because Biden's not good, you know.
This is the thing. I think a lot of people are silently thinking this is such a messed up thought to have. A lot of people are silently thinking Biden is old, Biden is not well, Biden is ill, he's going to die, and Kamala's going to be president. No, I'm so for real. Literally, people. If Kamala were to run on her own, we are so messed up. It's not even funny. Like that's like handing Trump the election. Here, it's like how Hillary was done with her emails because of what Kamala did in her prior line of work. They are willing to pin her to a cross and hand Trump America. So the only way that we can avoid a Trumpian society, and Biden said it the other day, if Trump was not running, he probably wasn't going to run. He never had a real intention to be a two-term president. Well, for the sake of the republic, the sake of democracy. Who else? There's no other viable democratic option. And Kamala's not going to win on her own. We saw her fail once. We're not going to see her fail again. We're not going to have another Hillary Trump situation. It's impossible. At this point, Trump is literally lining himself up to abolish the Constitution and turn America into a dictatorship. But that is what's going to happen.
Stacey, is that really accurate though, or is that you just feeling like kind of being kind of exaggerating a bit? Because how is that even possible?
Well, you know, that's what we say, and then we look back at all the things that we once upon a time thought that Trump was saying that was impossible, and then watched him do it.
Yeah, but to turn it into a dictatorship though, America, how?
That's first of all, look at what he did while he was president.
It's a dictatorship already. I mean, it's a democratic country, but these are the dictators of the world.
Oh no.
They be doing what the hell they want. They be blowing up what they want, going where they want, taking what they want. And to be fair to Trump, your economics was all right when he was at the helm. I mean, it was embarrassing news around the world saying crazy things and that, but the country got worse once he left. I mean, for that person, for the people living there.
This is the weird cycle. Whenever we have democratic, Democrat presidents, a lot of their terms, at least definitely the first one, is cleaning up the mess of their Republican predecessor.
Okay.
That was the case with Obama, and this is the case with Biden. Biden, even in the things that he planned to do, his priority had to be cleaning up post-Trump, post-COVID America. That was the priority.
If Trump didn't behave how he behaved, I can't remember what the documentary is called. I watched it. It's proper decent. But if he didn't behave and made the decisions he made in COVID, he would have won. That he fucked up with COVID.
America could be so different if Hillary would have won that election. We would have Trump put 3 Supreme Court justices in power. We are, just, for lack of a better word, fucked for a couple generations.
Would you have wanted Hillary in power?
3 Supreme Court justices. Oh my God, over Trump? I think even a lot of Trumpians, in retrospect,
you know what it is. You know what's happening. You don't hate Trump so much. Yeah,
that's it.
But this is the thing.
You're prepared to put up with, because Hillary. These are not good people, man.
At all.
This is
you have to pick the lesser of the 2 evils. You also have to realize that a lot of Trump supporters, which is why a lot of this is interesting to watch. There are a lot of Trump supporters who are only Trump supporters off the bat of financial viewpoints. There are a lot of Republicans who are only Republicans.
Isn't that enough? Our resident conservative said.
No.
Why?
No.
If everyone has money, sure.
Are you kidding me?
If everyone has money, right? Isn't everyone's quality of life better? And everyone just less stress?
Because look at how Trump single-handedly racially divided America. Look at how he single-handedly, just by his existence, racially divided America. The moment Trump got into office, look at the racial climate of America since 2016. Are you like even a fool would have to admit, yeah, there's a stark difference.
All I would say is, in response to what you said about the racial divide, if those black people were economically in a better position, you think they would care? I'm telling you.
What do you mean?
Who's gonna care? Like if white people hated me, right, and it was clear that they hated me, but I was okay economically, or I was good, I was thriving economically, me and my community, I wouldn't care.
You know why that's an unfair point to make?
Tell me.
Because black people are statistically, economically disadvantaged, we are put in a position where we have to prioritize things like money. If money was normal to us, don't you think we'd be worried about other things?
This is what I'm saying.
Things like all the things that have been snatched from people since Trump being in office.
You know what it is?
If we could.
No, go on,
No, go ahead. Because I'll go down a rabbit hole.
I was gonna say, because I don't want to defend Trump. The only reason why I can't actually probably even talk about him like that, is because I don't live over there, so it's not really affecting me. That is what it is. But we had to deal with Boris and them idiots anyway. But what I will say, is that I can see from the outside looking in that people gravitate towards, is his realness. You know what I'm trying to say? And just and because you talk about the racial divide, I don't live in America. I only been there once, but from what I see and from what I know, that racial divide has always been there. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
No,
I don't think.
Marks, let me stop you there. It has always been there, but the level of flagrance by
That's
white
what I mean.
people
So it's
hasn't
gone
been
from being
endorsed by
overt to
presidents.
covert. But people are just now
No.
talking how they feel. But they can still, if the money's right, they can still coexist. Do you know what I'm trying to say? They're still going to coexist. It doesn't
Mark.
change. Them Confederate flags and things are still flying around your place. Whether people was talking about it and being proud about it, if you drive and you live in those communities, you still see that shit.
Y'all are crazy.
Marks, sorry, but I also had the privilege of living in Washington, D.C. during the Trump era, quite literally from beginning to end.
Or was you there when they stormed the Capitol?
No.
He emboldened.
Yes, I was driving. No, Marks, I kid you not. I was driving in D.C.
He gave them legitimacy.
I was driving in D.C. casually when the insurrection was happening, and my mom is literally texting me, "I don't want you outside." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" As I casually drive past, this is happening in front of my eyes.
No, you're right. He did embolden a whole section of people.
Never get behind Trump at all.
Huh?
He's endorsing. Marks, when Trump got elected, mind you, you guys know I went to Howard, the top HBCU.
Big up.
No, there's no America that I've known that a white person would find it in the white people who are scared of black people for just existing would come to a black campus, know it's a black campus, wearing full-fledged Make America Great Again attire. Just to make you uncomfortable and let you know I'm standing on business when it comes to my racism. Do you know white people came and brought their kids for a school tour to Howard? God knows why. They come into my cafeteria in full-fledged Trump MAGA hats, whatever. By the time they left that campus, do you know the students flicked those things off their heads and told them, "Get out of here. Now you want to cry? Oh, assault. What's wrong with you?" It's not that you can support your political candidate, but white people are taking this politics thing when it comes to Trump as I'm racist and I'm standing on business. And as you can see, the highest power in the land is also standing on the same business. So what are you?
Okay,
what are you, little N-word, going to do about it?
All those things that you're saying are true.
That is the climate of America.
Yeah, no, all those things that you're saying are true, and 100%, and it's your lived experience. So there's no place for me to question it. Yeah. What I will ask you is, are you able to separate the two? Is there anything that Trump done good, or is there any benefits to Trump, like aside of all of that? Because that's the negatives. We know what that is. Like you can't escape it. I'm saying, is there any benefits or anything? Has he done anything good in your eyes, ever?
There probably was. And I was talking to my aunt about this the other day. I think all presidents, Republican or not, have things that you would have supported. So that's probably smaller in terms of your grander views, but we cannot say that we despise every single thing a president does. I'm sure Trump did something that was beneficial for other people. The problem is the bigger picture and the bigger impacts. I'm not gonna, if Trump were to decrease taxes but remove abortion and put 3 racist Supreme Court justices, am I seriously going to be like, but my taxes are 50 cents cheaper every month? Like, be for real?
Yeah, hey.
Like, and that is the logic of a lot of people. Like when I'm reading posts and stuff from these big pages and, they're posting about what's happening in the political climate, people are like, the cost of living is rising and yada, yada, yada. People in the comments like, vote Republican and things will change. It might financially on a very minor scale, but God forbid I'm sitting up here and Trump is literally planting seeds that he can turn this country into a dictatorship. Literally every branch of government has even watched the way his opponents talk about him. You would think if I was a Republican opponent of Trump and I'm also running for the seat of president, I would be castrating him for everything that I think is nonsense. It's like they're running against someone who they don't want to ridicule. It makes no sense.
They're shook at Trump. If Trump beats them cases that he's got, he'll be running again, and he'll win. To be totally honest.
To my point, he said this before. Literally, my aunt was telling me, while Trump was running the first time, you have to understand, when Trump was running the first time, everybody thought he wasn't serious. Like, no way we're gonna sit here and have this man as the president of the United States. Be so for real, right? He literally said, if I were to go into Times Square and kill 6 people or however many people he said, nothing would happen to me.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Nothing would happen to me.
Oh,
And what do you think he's doing with government? He's so confident that he can do whatever he wants, and we're literally watching him do it. A president saying, I don't want to leave the White House. Biden's win was not valid. I'm not going to leave. And encouraging violent protesters to take over Congress. Oh my God, if that was Obama, we would not be hearing the end of it. We were crying about Hillary and her stupid freaking emails. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh God, it's tough over there, man. It's tough over there. Well,
yeah.
Hope you make the right choices in your votes. You get me? Remember,
I vote in California, so my vote's going to be the Democratic Republic, regardless. So it doesn't matter. But everybody needs to get out and vote.
Yeah, they do. But remember, Joe Biden is endorsing the genocide of the Palestinian people, and he was in cahoots with Ukraine. Taking people.
And you know what's sick about that? You know what's so sick about that? People, this is Republicans are going to fool us stupid Democrats, because sometimes Democrats are so freaking stupid, and they're going to use that as everyone's protesting, saying our business when it comes to this whole Israel thing. Whole time they don't care nothing about all of that. In fact, they even support what Biden's doing, but because they know that's your ticking point, we want to protest everything. Go ahead and protest so that I can go and collect all the Republican votes. Are we dumb? Are we really stupid? You have to pick the lesser of the two evils. And if you think that this is a deal breaker for you because Biden made the decision to support whatever he did the other day, you're not going to vote for him. You do realize the other option is Trump, who's going to do that, stand on business, and do that with other countries too. So we're just going to sit here and continue to protest? Be self-aware. Everyone needs to educate themselves. Pick up a book, please.
Thank you very much, Stacey. I'm glad that we have good people on both sides.
Yeah, especially because it's 4:30 a.m.
4:30 a.m. Wow, damn.
It's 4:30 a.m. in Jersey. Yeah, I'm still on the East Coast, y'all.
Stacey,
I'm going back to Cali till next year.
Stacey, when are you coming to the UK, man?
Oh man, it's so crazy. I was just talking about this the other day. The goal is to come either before June or come for my 25th in August. I was there 2022. I'm planning to come back again. My birthday is August 20th, so I came for my birthday and Carnival weekend.
Okay,
so I might do the same.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for calling. Take care. Take care.
Talk to you later. All right, bye.
All right, so we have another call coming in. He is a historian, a well-read, a well-learned man.
Hip-hop historian.
I'm not sure how much he knows about hip-hop.
Just checking.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you guys hear me well?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody said no. Yeah, sorry. I think I interrupted before the historian called, so I'll keep it quick. You guys know me. Huge shout out to our USA correspondent Stacey, but I'll come back to her talking point after, because you man are moving a bit wild, as if to say this guy Trump isn't the equivalent of Boris but on steroids. And when the country putting him to be prime minister, are we not looking at the country like you guys are not well? So let's actually wake up a sort of coffee, because
he's way better.
Yeah,
than
what do you
Boris.
have to decide anyway? What's that?
No, sorry, go on.
No, tell me. No.
No, can you?
I just said he's better than Boris. My bad, sorry.
Yeah, really your bad boy. Because, like I said, I'll come to it later, but you guys, it's not you guys, but a lot of the time, I find that certain people of colour hyper associate themselves with people who are, in inverted commas, like self-made millionaires, etc., etc. People like Elon and Trump, guys, that I think Elon has much more to offer the world than Trump does, but these people are not even trust for the kids. $1 million on steroids, and they've been able to fail upwards their entire life. So I'm just going to put out there and we'll focus on the topic. So that being said, it was just that with the whole, the different universities. So there was more than one university that actually asked for the head lecturer to resign and stuff. And I think both of the ladies did. And I feel like there's a reason why it's only the black lady that's sitting in front of us there on a congressional hearing. Maybe the others did. I didn't see a video of it. But I do think it's important to like be aware, like, and I think there's a reason why a lot of the time we don't get to see everything that happens in the House of Commons. And I think there's a reason for that. And other times we do get to see it. Because my point is basically a lot of the time, as you guys are aware, working in media, Mr. Brent and his little shorts, people love a good soundbite. So the reality is like, yeah, I think in the UK, we do have a lot of awareness of American politics, but we shouldn't kind of be delusional in thinking that, oh, we know better than, for example, someone like Stacey. Because I find it quite funny. I get your point, Mark, yeah? But you said, Stacey, your lived experience. But the funny thing is, she barely spoke about her lived experience until it came to literally driving past the Capitol that day. For the most part, Stacey was actually speaking politics about like the land that she actually lives in. Don't really understand people like Kevin saying that Trump didn't increase the racism in America. There's the reason why racism in America is not the same as the UK, and that's because if you look at percentage-wise, I feel like the white people feel like there's a bit too much of them, if that makes any sense. So you're going to have a lot more pushback. I think someone like Mike B wrote in the chat about what E-Man said in terms of like, oh, I'll be fine if I was a rich guy in America, black guy in America. At the end of the day, sir, when things stop for you, they don't know who you are, what you are. Many a black lawyer, many a black professional has been stopped by the police in an inappropriate manner. So we'll just put that to the side. So my point just was that basically, yeah, with the professors, there was like around 3 at least. I think that while in the beginning, Mark was saying a valid point, like, oh my gosh, like she wasn't ready. She could have been better prepared for sure, but at the same time, she also had sense because at the end of the day, as she's aware, this clip will now be used on soundbites. And as a black woman, if she even breathes and interrupts her, and that woman has to be like, reclaiming my time, because there's literally rules about who's allowed to speak and who's not. So if she ever were to speak over the woman or to say, it may be a form of hate speech, however, from my understanding, the woman will cut her off and say, no, answer my question. And that is actually how it goes. So you have to be realistic because, like I said, like this black woman much like Stacey, she actually lives in America and she's well aware and she's gone through academia. A lot of black women who are literally rich, successful, they talk about the fact that as a professor in America, it's so hard to get tenure. Tenure for them is like, okay, well, no matter what, you're going to get like a salary working for 10 to 20 years and blah, blah, blah. Whereas the majority of black professors in America do not get tenure. They'll be looking to left and right of their counterparts who they are better than, who they get better reports from than the students, the feedback. However, they don't get tenure. If I'll put it aside, but it's just always to say that, that black woman was well aware of like how it would be taken if she was to speak like almost out of turn, really defend herself and do XYZ. Because very much so, once again, this our country, that same person that was speaking to her on the podium, that woman was heavily defending Los Santos. And I think many a time, I'm definitely seen on TV more than once, basically, just defending that side of things. And that's why politics do matter, because we can talk about Trump's orange pant or pump. By the end of the day, people that have positions of power will choose people to be the board, I forget what it's called, justice, whatever it is. I feel like in our country, they'll put it a chief justice, something judge. Yeah, they have sway, and very much so, like, as I'm talking about voting and stuff, there's a lot of fears that, okay, well, if Trump gets in office, for example, he's going to allow 2 or 3 more places for a judge that was previously Democrat, who's now Republican, which is really the only reason why a lot of these anti-abortion bills got to pass. So I'll leave it at that. And on the lighter note, I did ask in the chat if people think that the Alabama brawl would have actually taken place if Trump never got into office. I don't think it would have, personally. I think maybe people more confident would be more vocal. But I'll stop there.
All right.
Thank you, Babsy.
Thank you very much for that, man.
Anytime.
Thank you. All right. Young, handsome man, you can call in now.
Yes, it's a very tricky situation, man.
We ain't talk about American politics in a while, have we?
Yeah, exactly.
We should get into it sometime.
Good morning,
American politics
caller.
is fun, though. American politics is fun.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Oh, is that Brent?
It's Emmanuel, but yes, it is Brent too.
Guys, yeah, good morning. Am I on? I just called from a mobile, left the YouTube channel. Am I on air at the moment?
You are, yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Good stuff. Right, okay. Thank you very much for taking the call.
Thank you for calling, by the way.
No problem. We have a common friend, Danielle, and obviously she's been telling me about this podcast and this YouTube channel for a while, and I wanted to get in touch with her. At some point, you guys were talking about the Israel-Palestine thing today, so I just wanted to drop my 2 cents in here, if that's okay.
Yep. That's fine. Take the stage.
Thank you very much. So, look, I think there's the most important thing, the most striking thing for me, as someone who is a reader of history and takes an interest in politics, especially global politics. The important thing that I think that needs to be understood to your listeners and to the broader communities and the population is that what we're actually dealing with here is a colonial project. It's a colonial enterprise. Let's put the name Israel to one side. What you have here is Zionism. Zionism was a colonial settler enterprise, and this is what gets forgotten. The founders of Zionism, you guys would know, Herzl and Weizmann and these people, they were atheist Jews. They weren't interested in the religious dimension of Zionism, as were people like Asher Ginsburg, a respected 19th century scholar, who had actually been to Palestine, unlike Herzl. And what the Zionists essentially did was to use the Jewish people to attain their colonial ends. And this is something which people don't understand. Everyone thinks it's inextricably tied to Judaism. It's actually not. This is very important to understand. It's a colonial project, and one of the cornerstones of colonialism is racism. Racism is the means by which a colonial project is made successful. It's no different from when the founding fathers landed in the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, observed the Amerindians and talked in terms of them being savages, and then we had to save the savages. And then when the Brits went to Africa, went to Asia, they talked in terms of civilizing the savages. And now you got a situation where the Israelis are bombing the savages. There's always a pretext, there's always an excuse they have to dehumanize, denigrate the subject people. Otherwise, they cannot succeed in their colonial project. And this is what needs to be understood. And this is what the vast majority of people in this country don't understand, that it's a colonial project. It's something which is not genuine to the Jewish faith, because the Jewish faith does not have the notion of, if you speak to the Orthodox Jews, they don't believe they have the right to the land of Israel until the Messiah comes. So a lot of the motivations, especially in American evangelical Christianity, to whom the political elite pander to, which is why Israel gets so much support, they're all trying to accelerate this coming of Jesus. And I have to tell you guys, between 1917, in fact, 1921 and 1948, when you had the British mandate in Palestine, when Zionism was kind of taking root, the people who trained, it was the Brits who trained the Zionist militia, right? These are terrorist groups, right? You have to understand it. What we now call the IDF was originally called the Haganah. There was the Haganah, there was the Stern Gang, there was the Irgun. There were a number of terrorist groups, militias trained by the British. And one of the key trainers was a guy called Ord Wingate. Those of you who know the history of the Sudan and the Mahdiist uprising, and Lord Kitchener was there at the time, would know Wingate from those days. So Wingate was seconded to Palestine to train the militia. Now, why am I telling you this? It's because these guys were devout Christians of that time. In fact, Lloyd George's entire cabinet, including Balfour himself, they're all anti-Semites, by the way, declared open, on the record, anti-Semites. And yet these people had the audacity to then be using the Zionist cause to attain their ends and to satisfy what they called the Jewish problem. Anyway, I'm jumping around here. The point I'm making is that Wingate and the associates of the Brits at that point, they're training up the Zionist militia around that time to dispossess the people. They undertook something which is called the village files, or Elan Pape calls it village files. And that's when they prepared a registry. Now listen to this carefully. They prepared a registry through which they mapped out, as a cartographic exercise. So they mapped out where the water is, where the villages are, where the mosques are, where the businesses are, the craftsmen. They completely mapped it. And it took between 1936 and 1939, I think into 1942, they mapped out in entirety the land of Palestine in readiness, because what they added to that registry was the people who rebelled against them, the villages and the leaders of the rebellions, where they lived and who they were. And that became a blueprint for the ethnic cleansing that was to ensue in 1948. What you got to understand is the first PM of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, was the guy who was exercising that ethnic cleansing from its preliminary stages when they had the registry right through to 1948 when Israel was founded. Look, the reason I'm going on about this, guys, is it's important to understand everything in the media gets focused on 7th of October and Hamas, and do you condemn Hamas? You got clowns like Piers Morgan constantly saying, "Do you?" In every interview, "Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn?" Because that's part of the narrative. It's part of the perception engineering. It's the same as when, and I won't go into the Al Qaeda 9/11 thing, but there's a very distinct parallel there. But what they're doing is getting us to focus on 7th of October and in recent years and what's been going on, with no attention allowed or afforded to the last 100 years. This is a 100-year-old occupation. This is what people need to understand. It's that they've come in as, looking for spiritual sanctuary in the early 1910s. This is the Jewish people who were used by the Zionists. And then they, bit by bit, they've effectively taken over the land. Then they've kicked out the people of that land. And then you've got this amazing rhetorical inversion where the people who colonized are the people who then are playing the victim and pointing fingers at the dispossessed and saying they're the terrorists, they're the bad people, they're the ones that are backwards. We built the country. That it's a complete inversion of reality. Stop me if I'm going too fast, guys, because there's a lot to say on all of this, right? And do step in with any questions. But it's important to recognize things like, if you look at what's going on in the media in the UK now, especially with that Braverman person, now that thank God she's gone. Not that the new guy's any better, but she was framing this entire conflict as Islamists versus the Jews. This is so false. It's so outrageous. This is about an occupied territory by an occupier, 100-year-old occupation, and the entirety of the PLO struggle and all of the subsequent political parties has been one of resistance, but it never gets called resistance. You see, there's this strange control that the Israeli narrative has on both British and American politics, and we all know this. You can't deny this. The control that the ADO and AIPAC and these guys have on the American. In the American government. So all I'm trying to say, and again, there's a lot of information, I'm trying to sort of contain it as much as possible. All I'm trying to say is there's a lot of false narratives out there, right? The Zionists are historically famous for their deceit from the origins when they came into Palestine and said, this is a land without a people for a people without a land, which is a complete lie, making it sound like it was an empty land, nothing's going on there, to things like the Lavon affair in Egypt, the Baghdad bombings. It's claimed by a predominant scholar, I think it might have been Shlomo, who said that the Zionists were behind the Baghdad bombings of the synagogue in Baghdad because they needed to encourage the migration of the Jews back to Israel, because the only way you successfully complete your colonial project is to get mass migration. And it's to be recalled. And sorry, I was going on about the seats of the Zionists. So they have been caught out a number of times. If you know the USS Cole, if you know, as I said, the Lavon affair, there are many instances where they have been caught lying, and they carry on doing it. So for them to peddle out narratives that the Hamas are doing this, and the raping and the beheading and all these things, which turned out to be false at the end of the day, yet they're able to propagate it, and it gets re-parroted via our media agencies. So we have to understand what's really going on. We have to challenge media narratives. We have to frame this as and the moment you speak up about it, they call you anti-Semitic, and this is a fundamental problem. Anti-Semitism, which was historically a European Christian problem, has somehow been managed to be. They've reframed it and imposed it, not even imposed it, foisted it on the Muslim people to say, well, these are the guys who are the cause of the anti-Semitism, and Jews no longer feel safe in London. We have to really debunk, we have to break down, challenge these narratives, because it's not true. So look, I'll finish because I know I've been talking for a while.
No, you're allowed to go off. I've got 2 questions for you. My first question is, when are you coming on the show, young sir? When are you coming to sit down and take part of the podcast?
Well, there's a lot to be said, so yeah, I'll take you up on it at some point.
Yeah, you can get in contact with.
Because I'm literally giving you the surface stuff. There's so much we can get into.
Well, someone from chat has a question for you. They said, "Can you ask the gentleman to explain the claims on the other side that they were expelled from that land when they were taken as slaves?" Because he needs to understand more of that.
Certainly, I will certainly do that. You have to understand something, right? There's this narrative by these Zionists that it's our ancestral land and we lived there for years and whatever it might be. The fact of the matter is that land that we're in question right now, around the year 3000 BC, you had what we called the people called the Canaanites there, right? And they had no real political structure there. Then it was by 1700 you had the Chaldeans, who were a combination of the Hebrew tribes from southern Iraq. And I think I forget the Philistines. That's right, the Philistines. Yeah. So from the Canaanites to the Chaldeans to the Babylonians to the Assyrians to the Persians, Greeks, in all of that time, the Romans, and then the Muslims after that. What you've got to understand. Absolutely right. You can go all the way to the present day. What's important to understand in those last 5,000 years of history, there was only a Jewish state under David and Solomon between, I think, about 970 and 900, right? That father and son combination. That's when you had a unified Jewish state. There never was a Jewish nation or a land as they are claiming right now. It's one of the false narratives of Zionism.
It wasn't set up, but there was, well, who was it? King David and the man that gave him the place. And then between the different empires, there's been points and times where they've been welcomed there, living together, and there's been times when certain people will come in and then expel them from it. You know what I'm trying to say? That
yes, I mean, it was, so the Babylonians destroyed the first temple and they got rid of them, and the Greeks weren't very nice. And it was the Persians who actually invited the Jews back. They helped to reconstruct the temple, which is what the Hanukkah celebration is about, by the way. And then the Romans then ended what was called the Maccabee rule, and then the Romans again destroyed the second temple. Now the point is they were expelled, but then throughout the AD period, Anno Domini period, the Jews, yes, they were expelled from one place to another. The Romans continued. In fact, it's worth knowing the story of Umar ibn Khattab, the second caliph of the Islamic world after the Prophet Muhammad. He was the one who conquered Jerusalem. And when he arrived, it's a very interesting story. When he arrived in Jerusalem, Emperor Sophronius had the city had been defeated already. But when he arrived, he was on a camel. There's a guy on a camel and there's a guy walking. And Sophronius saw these guys coming, and he was told, "Here's the leader of the Muslims." And he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He goes, "How can a leader of the Muslims be sitting on a camel?" And when he got closer, he realized it wasn't on the camel was the servant of the Caliph. The Caliph was actually walking. And he said, why are you walking? Why is your servant on the camel? He said, we take turns. So this is the kind of humility that the guy had. And then Umar found out. Umar inquired about the Jews. He said, where are the Jews? And Sophronius sort of said, well, we kind of killed them all because they were troublemakers. And Umar, and this is a historical fact, Umar fell to his knees and he cried. He said, what happened? What have you done? Why did you do this? And then he asked to go to the Temple Mount, where the temple was, the Jewish temple. And it was turned into a bit of a junkyard. It was like a dump. And Umar, with his hands on his knees, he was scraping together all the dirt and trying to clean it up. This is the reverence that the prophets and the caliph, subsequent caliphs, had for the Jewish people as being the messengers and the children of Moses. This is the reverence that the Muslims have always had. And this is the reason why they lived in relative harmony and peace throughout the next 1,000 years into the Ottoman Empire, right up until the point of Zionism. That's when it went wrong. Zionism is the reason why that peace between the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians disintegrated, and now it's been framed for political purposes. It's very important to understand this. And I want to tell you one more thing. Herzl went to he wasn't getting traction. Nobody was interested in Zionism. The Jews, the diaspora, were not interested in coming back to Israel. They had worked hard to integrate in England, in America, in Germany, in various countries. They had worked very hard to become an English Jewish man, an American Jew, etc. So they weren't interested in splitting that loyalty. And so Herzl went to Russia, and he said to the Tsars, I will take care of your Jewish problem. You know, these socialist intellectuals are trying to cause a revolution. I'll take care of them for you. So, and a guy called Zhilovsky, who was the socialist leader of the Jews, he was furious with Herzl. He said, this guy is not interested in the plight of the Jewish people. He's interested in the colonial or his Zionist project. So, you know, Herzl had no success there. He then went to the Germans, spoke to the Kaiser. Same thing about Jewish problem, and would take care of the Jewish problem for you. In other words, using the Jews, right, just for the sake of the migration, right? He needed migration into Israel, and that failed as well. It was the Brits in all of their cunning, and we know the British history. I mean, we'll talk about it another time as well, hopefully in your show, about British history and colonial past. But it was the Brits who entertained Zionism for their own ends. And first of all, as I said before, they were all anti-Semites. The cabinet, Lloyd George cabinet, Baldwin, Balfour, all of them were anti-Semites. And the reason why the declaration was given, the Balfour Declaration was given, is because it's very interesting. You have to know this because this doesn't get talked about. Britain in 1917 needed Russia to remain in the war. Don't forget there was a revolution in Russia. The Tsars were gone, and the Lenin and the Bolsheviks had taken over. What the Zionists offered the Brits was, or more to the point, Brits used the Zionists because of the Jewish connection to say, okay, we'll give you the Balfour Declaration. We'll give you the declaration for that land in Israel, but we need you to control and keep the Russians on our side in the war. Right. This is the reason why the Balfour Declaration was issued. It was horse trading going on there, and that horse trading led to the dispossession of hundreds of thousands of people, murder, ethnic cleansing going on to this day. These are the subtle, points of note that everyone has to understand if you're going to be serious about what the history of the so-called Holy Land is. Again, I'm still skimming the surface here.
I mean, like Mark said, we definitely need you to come in and so that we can talk about this, right? Because obviously, I'm gonna have a lot of questions to throw at you from the opposing side. I mean, I have to do my job. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I am agreeing with what you're saying, pretty much, right? But I did want to ask you though. Yeah. Obviously, you did mention in 1917, basically the whole situation with Russia being in the war, right? Or at least the Brits wanted them to remain in the war. What about the influence of the Rothschilds? Because obviously the Balfour Declaration was, all that was influenced also by Lord Rothschild at the time, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Where do you see his influence?
Well, there's an open declaration. It's not a, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories associated with the Rothschilds, and that comes naturally when you're a very rich family and you have a history of banking. You're supporting both sides of the war when it comes to Napoleon and the other and Britain, etc. But the fact is, Balfour's declaration was addressed to Lord Rothschild. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, I don't think it's as conspiratorial as people think. I think they are obviously very, very rich people. They were very, very rich, a very rich family, a dynasty almost. And if they had a motivation to fund the Zionist project, then they probably did. In fact, when Herzl went to Turkey and spoke to Sultan Abdul Hamid, he said to Turkey, "We want that bit of land. Give us that bit of land." Because they're under the Ottomans, right? Remember, and they said we'll pay all your debts, because at that time the Ottomans were virtually about to collapse, right? Financially, economically, socially, and the Zionists said we'll pay for your debts. So then that begs the question: what power did the Zionists have financially to be able to pay off the debts of the Ottoman Empire? And all roads go back to Rothschild in that respect. And I don't mean to pitch that as a conspiracy, but that's what you can deduce. From that. But it is historically true that Herzl did offer to pay the debts of the Ottoman Empire in exchange for the land of Palestine. So that family will have an involvement in this, but the extent to which they're involved, I have not come across written text around that. It's probably out there, but anything beyond what I've said there, it veers into conspiracy land. So I tend to avoid that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
so
Brent's gonna be in touch.
Is that good?
We're gonna pen some dates.
All right, no problem.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, let's do that because I just want people to understand, and we haven't talked about it much, but the racism is a very, very significant part of a colonial project, and especially Israel. You guys I don't know if you've seen the videos coming out of normal Israelis where they're dressing up like Palestinians, including making their faces blackfacing themselves, and then singing songs about how we have no electricity and how we have no, mocking them for not having electricity or gas or hospitals or whatever it might be. So that racism has been indoctrinated into the people, and that's the only way a colonial project survives, is when you have that object of hate. And don't forget, the next level of that is fascism, because in fascism you have an object of hate and you have a supremacy theory. The Nazis had the Jews as the object of hate, and they had the Aryan supremacy as that supremacy theory. Just like in India, we'll talk about that as well, but India is also a fascist state right now under Modi. They also have an object of hate, which is the Muslims and the Christians, and they had their own supremacy theory about what's called Akhand Bharat, which is extended India, and they have like their own Aryan theory, because they all claim to go back to
you remember
well.
everything. You remember everything.
It's important to know these things because there's so much of the world in front of us that's obfuscated and obscured by media.
100%. It's hard to have conversations with people or to look forward to the future if you don't understand the context of history. And I tell people all the time, and I've been telling people from the beginning of time that they're not going to stop till they take the whole of Palestine. I told you lot, it took the Europeans 140 something years to take America. It's only been 100 years, and this place is much smaller. They're not going to. Obviously, it's different because we're watching it play out in real time, innit? So with social media and the voices are louder, and everybody's disdain towards it. But we've watched this thing happen in society pure times. So everyone wants to know what their aim is and what their goal is, and it is to take that whole place, the colonization of the whole land. That is it.
It's a declared objective. I don't know if it was Iman speaking there or somebody else, but
it's your learned brother Marx, man.
Nice. There's another thing you guys I didn't mention to you, right? In Herzl's private diaries, he had said that the success of this project is a contingent upon the dispossession of Palestinian rights and lands. It's been known for 126 years that this project cannot succeed without the elimination of the Palestinian people, and that, my friend, is going on to this day. One final thing, and I swear I'll shut up after that. One final thing: when you have a genocide that takes over, let's say, over a month or 3 months, like something like the Bosnia genocide or the Nazi Holocaust. When something happens in a short period of time, then people notice it. You call it a genocide. It's manifest in your face. But when you have what I call an attritional genocide, something which takes over 100 years or so, as is the case in Palestine, then no one notices it. No one calls it genocide. They call it, ethnic troubles or local issues or domestic problems. From 1948 to 1956, when the massacres were going on by the Israelis, expelling people from the villages and killing the Palestinians, the international community, the UN, and all these people, they looked away. And Ilan Pape calls it a conspiracy of silence, because it was, and it's important because that conspiracy of silence is the reason why Israel gets away with everything right now. They're in breach of every international law when it comes to war, but they don't give a damn. That belligerence is so accentuated right now, you're not going to be able to pull them right down, because they've been given that free hand by the Americans and by a proven ignoring of international human rights organizations. That's the reason why the genocide continues and no one says anything. And you know what? And I'm sorry to finish on a sad note, but I really don't believe there's genuine justice in the world when you have the current status quo of so-called democratic nations leading at the helm. Democracy is really just something to keep the people dumbed down, keep them consumerized. Again, this is another topic we should talk about, right? Because everything is about making commodities of ourselves. So we carry on buying, serving the interests of very rich multinational corporations who, in the meantime, control governments and achieve their ends. Anyway, I'm going to stop there, guys. I mean, I'm sure people are sick of hearing me.
No, they're not, man. They'll be surprised. Don't worry, man. When you come, I reckon it's probably going to be our longest show. I look forward to it, though.
They've actually called you.
I look forward to meeting you guys as well.
They've called you Mr. Voice, so that's your name from the.
No, nice. That's very nice of you. But,
I think we got to do it before the end of the year, to be honest with you.
I'm with it.
I'm putting pressure on you, man.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll sort it out. But yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for your call, man.
Anyway,
much
great
appreciated.
speech, you guys. Thanks so
Appreciate it,
much.
man.
Catch
Take
up
care.
soon. Take care. All right. Take care. Bye.
All right.
All right, don't see.
Don't say we don't do nothing for you, innit?
You know what I'm saying?
All right, well.
Like the video, man.
Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. That's definitely the end of the topic of the day.
No, that's the end of the headlines too.
Is it?
Somehow.
What are we going into next?
Reaction.
Let's get into the reaction, baby.
I'm joking.
I don't mind. I'm with it.
All right, so our next headline. Sky has been forced to clarify the plot of a comedy drama about an inheritance derived from slavery after being accused of making light of one of the darkest episodes in human history, while also sidelining black British talent. On Friday, it emerged that Sky was on the verge of commissioning a show called 40 Acres, which would star the W1A team of Hugh Bonneville, Sarah Parish, and writer Rufus Jones in a show about a family dealing with their historical links to slavery. The Guardian, or this is where the article came from, they understand that the project, which is in development and has not yet been commissioned by Sky, would follow Bonneville's character, the heir, of a country estate. His story echoes that of other real-life families such as the Trevelyan's and the Lascelles, who are wrestling with inheritances that came from the slavery economy. But the idea of a British comedy about the topic of slavery with white stars was anathema to some, and several black British comedians, and TV producers criticised the concept of the show on social media. Next headline, and again, Sky News, they found out, man, that the bodies that coordinate and deliver NHS care across England are on track to spend £4.9 billion more than previously planned this financial year. The data was obtained through the Freedom of Information requests to England's 42 integrated care systems, the ICSs, which are responsible for allocating the NHS budget to local trusts and commissioning services in their area. Sky News obtained figures from 41 ICSs, every one of whom reported being in a deficit in their latest financial disclosures. As of September, 6 months into the current financial year, England's ICSs had overspent by an estimated £2.5 billion. If overspending continues at the same pace, that would mean spending £4.9 billion more than planned by the end of March 2024. And the last headline takes us to Africa, where Niger's military leader has refused to release the country's deposed president in exchange for sanctions being lifted. ECOWAS, which is an alliance of West African countries, made the offer after a summit on Sunday. It demanded the release of Mohamed Bazoum several times since he was put under house arrest in late July. His relatives say that they have had no information about him since he tried and failed to escape from detention on the 19th of October. On Sunday, ECOWAS leaders met with the region still in crisis after military takeovers in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea since 2020, and two attempted coups elsewhere in recent weeks. ECOWAS has repeatedly demanded that Niger's junta reinstate civilian rule as soon as possible. The bloc has threatened military intervention and suspended all trade ties to the landlocked country to no avail. On Sunday, the alliance once again joined local and international partners in calling for the junta to release Mr. Bazoum. It also demanded the junta shorten its planned transition to civilian rule, which currently stands at 3 years. ECOWAS did not say what would be considered an acceptable transition period. I say for the headlines, time to pay the bills.
And then it's also time for People's Journal.
All right, let me just read out the result of the poll. Question was, should external forces be able to pressure an organization to get rid of their leader? 69% says yes, that's activism, and 30% says it's an internal matter, so no.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right, people, welcome to the People's Journal, where I give you the news from an economics point of view. So, according to official figures, right, by the ONS, the Office for National Statistics, right, they're saying that there was a big drop in the rate of inflation, which we obviously know, right? But that's meant that real wages were growing at the highest pace since September of 2021 in the 3 months up to October, right? They reported that the basic pay was 7.3% higher compared to the same period last year. That was down from an upwardly revised level of 7.8% reported last month as well, right? Which was the fastest drop since the end of 2021, by the way. But it took real wages, when inflation is basically taken into account, they factor all that in, right? So basically it took the real wages now to the highest level it's ever been, well, in the last 25 months, like I said, since September of 2021. So, again, looks like certain things are going in a direction that most of us would kind of hope for. And on top of that, something that's somewhat linked to it is about rents. So obviously we've been talking about the increases in rent and all that type of stuff continuing during this cost of living and things of that nature. I think one time we were talking about how just average properties that people are looking at, renting out and stuff, there's huge queues and all sorts, right? So yeah, according to Zoopla, they're saying that the rent rises are expected to halve next year. Basically, asking prices for new rental properties have fallen. That's what they're saying, right? So rent across the UK will increase by 5% to December of 2024, right? But that's nearly half of the 9.7% rate of rises seen in the last year to October because of the cost of living crisis affecting people and their ability to pay more. You know what I'm saying? So in the latest indication, what they're saying is that the rent rises have peaked, and they believe that the rental growth drops from 11.9% rises recorded in the year up to 2022. So this is all based on their figures and whatnot, and all that type of stuff, right? The forecast 5% increase would be the smallest in roughly 3 years, right? And not since September of 2021. Again, similar data that I just mentioned before about real wages. Not since then have rents grown at such a relatively slow pace. So it doesn't seem like a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? It seems like everything's kind of linked, and hopefully again, things will start to improve, man.
Great news.
Yes. Also, I'm waiting for the Bank of England, the governors, well, not the governor, but the board to pretty much sit down and discuss what's going to happen with the Bank of England's base rate. Again, like I said yesterday, I believe it's going to remain the same. I don't see them reducing it. I even saw another analyst talking about how he doesn't see it being reduced until 2025. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. But still, because we have, again, if I'm right about December, that would have been 3 months of consecutive no increases. Because of that, it does seem like a lot of banks are a bit more confident, and they have reduced their 2-year, 5-year, and even in some cases their 10-year fixed rates offers as well. This is why yesterday and Friday we're talking about the average 2-year fixed rate is now down to below 6% at 5.99%. Last thing I wanted to mention, this is a bit of a woke joke here, and there's not much to it, to be fair, but long story short, there's a Zimbabwean finance minister, called Mr. Nkube, or Mr. Mutuli Nkube. And basically, he's been voted the best African finance minister of the year. Bear in mind, Zimbabwe's unemployment rate is as high as 85%.
What?
What?
85%.
And he's winning awards.
And he's won this. I don't know if he's using the money for the country to rig that award. This is insane. Yeah, man. Like everything just doesn't seem good over there. It was just funny when I was reading it. There ain't much to the story, to be fair. But yeah, people obviously on the inside are basically saying this is a bloody insult. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Why is this even happening? Reuters news agency was talking about basically up to 80% of transactions are carried out in US dollars. Why? Because there's a total lack of confidence in the local currency. This is the country we're talking about, unfortunately. And this finance minister is voted the best African finance minister of the year.
That's funny.
Crazy. Yeah, like I said, there isn't much to the story. It's just funny that he got this award and he's getting this type of recognition, man. Even though the country's kind of messed up, but hopefully, I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive here, but hopefully, this, I don't know. This would try and prompt these guys to fix certain things, man. Maybe they see something we don't see, or that the figures are not showing. I don't know, but yeah, That's pretty much it for the People's Journal for today, man.
All right, then let's get into our final set of headlines.
All right, people. So our next headline takes us to Kenya, where a minister said that a power blackout, right, that plunged Kenya into darkness on Sunday was a possible act of sabotage. Crazy. So this happened around 8 p.m., right, local time. And this is Kenya's third nationwide blackout in the past 4 months. The outage disrupted several services, including the main airport in the capital, Nairobi, where 2 terminals were without power for several hours. Many Kenyans obviously have demanded answers as anger and frustration mounts over the recurring power disruptions. But the transport minister, right, he's come out and he said, he's been criticized basically, right, for the amount of time that it took to restore the power at Nairobi's main airport. This is the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, right, on Sunday. And he's pretty much asked police to investigate the possibility that these recurrent outages is down to sabotage. He feels like there's something going on, right? So he was on X the other day, and this is what he wrote. He said, considering the frequency of the power disruption and taking into account the fact that the JKIA, this is the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, is a facility of strategic national importance, we are making a formal request to the National Police Service to investigate possible acts of sabotage and cover-up. So yeah, man, we'll see if there's any truth to what you're saying. Next headline, and this is a big trigger warning, guys, man, big trigger warning. And 2 women and a man have been found guilty of murdering a vulnerable woman who they say was treated like a slave, man. Shakira Spencer died at the age of 35 after falling under the influence of her former neighbor, Ashana Studholme, 38, Studholme's lover, Sean Pendlebury, was 26, and their friend, Lisa Richardson, is 44. The defendants from West London scolded her feet and fed her only ketchup. Imagine. Sachets of ketchup, that's what they gave her. They scolded her feet. Jurors heard that Miss Spencer went from being a beautiful, happy, healthy size 16 to a gaunt and skeletal size 6 shortly before her death. Imagine. Last September, her badly decomposed body was found after neighbors saw maggots coming from her flat in Ealing. Imagine. The 3 defendants have denied murder and obviously preventing Miss Spencer's lawful burial. But Monday, a jury found all 3 of these animals guilty of both charges against them. And the last headline, trigger warning here as well. And a girl who was accused of murdering Brianna Ghey has told a jury she was walking away from the teen when she was stabbed and only saw the attack because she heard a noise like someone screaming. Manchester Crown Court has heard that Brianna was stabbed in a park in Cheshire in February. A 16-year-old girl, who was identified for legal reasons as Girl X, became upset as she said that she saw her co-accused, identified as Boy Y, attacking Brianna. Boy Y and Girl X have both denied murder. The pair, who were aged 15 at the time of the attack, allegedly lured Brianna, who was transgender, to Linear Park near Warrington on the afternoon of the 11th of February before she was stabbed 28 times. The court has previously been shown what the prosecution said was a handwritten murder plan found in Girl X's bedroom. It also has seen text messages sent between her and Boy Y, which allegedly showed the plan to lure Brianna to the park and then kill her. Notes were also made on serial killers, including Jeffrey Dahmer, Richard Ramirez, and Harold Shipman in the notebook, and jurors have heard the pair had a fixation with torture, violence, and death, with Girl X even describing herself as a Satanist. This is what these people are doing at this age, you know, allegedly. 15. I mean, you could be reading books and being productive in life.
Sounds like an open and shut case.
Anyway, that's it for the headlines, guys. Time to pay the bills.
All right, let's get to the reaction. Welcome to the reaction, people. I'll read your sports headlines. It's Champions League night tonight, so tomorrow should be interesting. But today we'll just keep it brief, let you know what's going on in the world of sport. So our first headline says, Man United women do what the men couldn't. Who picks this stuff? Manchester United kept pace in the Women's Super League title race with a comfortable victory at Tottenham Hotspur. Melvin Mallard starred, scoring twice and assisting Ella Toone for her side's second goal, while Hayley Ladd added a late fourth. United's win keeps them 4 points behind leaders Chelsea and a point and a place off the Champions League spots. Spurs are 6th and now winless in 5 games. Tottenham have been a really good side this season and made it difficult for us in the first half, England forward Toon told Sky Sports. We showed that grit and character that we have in this team. It wasn't always pretty, but we managed to get the 3 points, which is the main thing. Cool. Now, second headline reads, 2 detained as Turkish Super Lig game descends into chaos after full time. So Turkey's interior minister says 2 people have been detained after a club's president punched a referee in the face at the end of a Super League match. Faruk Kokar, who's president of Ankaragucu, ran onto the pitch and struck the official Halil Umut Mele after their game at Rispor. Kokar's side had conceded the 97th minute equaliser, ensuring Rispor would stay 4 points clear of their hosts after the 1-1 draw. Ankaragucu fans invaded the pitch after the game, and Miller was also kicked when he fell, though it was unclear who his assailants were. Miller eventually made it to the dressing room with the help of the police. Turkish football has been punched shamefully tonight. Everyone involved in the incident will pay the price, TFF chairman Mehmet Buyukkeski said. Turkey's Football Federation and TFF had decided to hold an extraordinary meeting following the trouble. The incident quickly reached as far as Turkey's president Recep Erdogan, who was quoted in Turkish media condemning the attack. Turkey's serious, you know. The president of the team come and punched the ref because of a draw. That's what I want to start seeing in the Prem though. Who would be the first gaffer to run into the pitch and punch a referee?
Who's got it in them?
Bias. Your first word should have said Arteta. He's the most animated man.
In them.
He's the most animated manager.
Pep.
Arteta.
Then again.
He don't even stand in his box.
Ten Hag seems to be very reserved.
Ten Hag ain't punching nobody.
He might hit them.
Nah, he ain't punching nobody. He's a school shooter type. We'll shoot at the stadium before he punches the referee.
That's what I'm saying. He might just
All right, don't know what you done there. And our last headline: double success for Nigeria as Victor Osimhen and Asisat Oshoala win their awards. So Nigeria's Victor Osimhen has been crowned the 2023 African Footballer of the Year at the Confederation of African Football Awards ceremony in Marrakesh. The Napoli player beat Egypt's Mohamed Salah and Morocco's Ashraf Hakimi to the prestigious award, the first time a Nigerian has picked up the title since Kanu in 1999. Nigeria enjoyed double success as Oshoala retaining the women's award, the 6th time the Barcelona star has won the accolade. The winners are voted for by a panel consisting of CAF's technical committee plus African media professionals, head coaches and captains. Clubs involved in the group stages of the CAF's continental competitions also have a say. Napoli's Osimhen, 24, was tipped to pick up the prestigious CAF award for the first time in his career after a stellar 2022-2023 season. He scored 26 times in 32 appearances, including the decisive goal that sealed the Scudetto in May and won Napoli their first Serie A title in 33 years. The former Wolfsburg and Lille striker was also named the Italian Footballers Association Player of the Year earlier this month after an outstanding season. And that is the end of our headlines. Are you playing tonight or tomorrow? Nobody cares. Everybody's going to be watching Man United Bayern, right?
I definitely am. We're playing today.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Big team split. Oh, no.
Well, the big team's playing Bayern and Man United.
No, I was going to say big team's playing today, but then I remembered United's going to get knocked out today.
That's still playing.
Yeah.
What time's kickoff? Because I'm going to... I don't want to fuck up. I don't actually know what. I don't even know if I actually want to watch
this game. Kickoff for us is 5:45 though, so you can watch the Arsenal game, then you can watch the beating.
I've got things to do, man. I'm going to have to see if I can move some things around. But I don't know if it's worth changing my whole schedule for that game
I don't
anyway.
think so, yeah. It's an inevitable result, to be honest.
Well, if they don't play their full strength side and we're at home, we could do them.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not the That's not the difficult thing about the game. It's about leading the other results. It's about wanting Copenhagen and Galatasaray to draw.
That's the difficult part of the whole.
Of
scenario.
course, because that's not in our hands.
What is in your hands?
The game tonight against Bayern.
Oh, so you're saying if you lose, then there's still hope.
No, we have
This
to
is what I'm
win.
saying.
But that's in our
First thing,
hands.
focus on today, right?
Which is in our hands.
As in 8 o'clock.
Which is in our control.
100%. To be honest, it's not in your control. You're going to get bend over.
Brent's an idiot. Well, that's the end of our sports headlines. Shockingly, we don't have a done ahead today. Sorry, guys. But yeah, man.
McDonald's is still down here, no?
Who?
They apologized and bought the guy some bedding.
Oh, was that?
Did they?
Nice.
Oh, swear.
Yeah. They didn't put him up in a nice little plush fat.
No.
You know, just give him, here's a...
Too little, too late, man. And not even a Happy
I
Meal.
was just about to say, no food?
They might have given him food.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
For
They
some
should give him
time.
one of those cards to get free food for life.
Yeah. He needs a McDonald's card.
That's what you should do.
No, but then he'll never move.
No, for real.
That's definitely a Trumpian statement.
I'm joking, people. I'm joking. It's all entertainment, man. Let's get into our outro, please. That was a great show. Thank you for everybody that took part. Yeah, the chat was booming today. Thanks for everybody that liked the video. Thanks for all our callers. Shouts out our hip hop historian.
The Voice.
The Voice. Mr. Voice. We're going to get him in there before the year's out, apparently.
Yes, God willing.
God willing, inshallah. We'll do that one. But yeah, man, it's been a great day. And we'll be here, same time, same place, bringing you good quality content and broadcasting the news to our people.
That's it.
That is it. That is us. Peace out, man.
Peace.